ज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोविष्टं तले स्वयं रूपकदामयं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं गुरो श्वेतकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सागरनागनाथं तं तं सजीवं साहदेतं साधुतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादा सह नवलितां श्रीविशाखावतं च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिकाकान्तकालकान्तानमस्ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पत्राणां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा। Welcome to this discussion on Bhagavad Gita as it is. We are right now in chapter 5, and we are in the middle of our third part of this chapter. By fixing mind on Paramatma, Karma Yogi attains liberation. So we completed the 19th shloka in our previous discussion. Now let us go to the 20th shloka. So now प्रहर्षित प्रियं प्राप्य नो द्विजेत प्राप्य चा प्रियं स्थिर बुद्धि असमूढ़ो ब्रह्मविद ब्रह्मणि स्थितः. A person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor laments about obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, who is unbewildered, and who knows the signs of God, is already situated in transcendence. So, what does it mean? The point is that the person practices devotional service and he becomes neutral to happiness and distress. So this is Bhagavan realization position. This is referred in this specific verse as Brahmavid and Brahmani Sthita. Brahmani Sthita in Brahmani means in transcendent situated, one who knows supreme perfectly. So happiness and distress are dualities in existence. A person who remains unaffected by this is situated in transcendence. Thus, he does not get involved emotionally in these topics. The win or loss in any match, in any tennis match, cricket match, subjects the spectator to get emotionally engrossed in the match. This makes them get emotionally affected when there is a loss of it. So this is duality of that. The person who is purified is not affected by this. So this win or loss is kind of an intoxication. So we need to give up that. So it is like addiction. It is like addiction. We get addicted to gambling, addicted to seeing a sports match because we want to win the match. We are the supporters of a specific team. Therefore, we want the team to win the match. So this is a kind of addiction, and this is equivalent to gambling. So this is a sign of material attachment. But one who is emotionally unaffected by loss or win, that is situated in transcendence, and this is a sign of purification and spiritual advancement. This non-attachment to win or loss is a test on spiritual advancement. This is the test of our authentic growth in spiritual life. This means the person is progressing from an entangled material life to unbewildered spiritual life. This is Brahmavid Brahmani Sthitaha, or this is Brahman realization. Na prashyat priyam prape, no dijit prape cha priyam. How one is placed in this situation, that one who is not rejoicing in a pleasant situation and not agitated when there is a loss, not achieving something. So, how is this possible? This Krishna elaborates in next two verses, And so these verses give us understanding how one can become detached from external things. So if you see the entire shloka in the fifth chapter, especially the slokas from 20 to 29. So if you see 21, such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but always entranced, enjoying pleasure within. So he is finding pleasure within. Then an intelligent person does not take part in sources of misery, which are due to contact with material senses. So he controls the sense object. A brahmachari does not uh, use his senses for anything material. He engages all his senses for Krishna. Whereas Grihastha takes the liberty where he uses the sense of touch to get children. So he engages the senses for a material enjoyment, and the result of that he uses for Krishna. So these are all sources of misery. We need to cut down this. So no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication ensures that we don't take part in sources of misery. Before giving up this present body, one is able to tolerate the urges of material senses, checks the force of desire and anger. He is well situated and is happy in this world. One whose happiness is within. That means Krishna, who is in the form of Paramatma, engages us in his devotional service, then we find happiness by satisfying Krishna. So that is happiness within, who is active and rejoice within, whose aim is inward, is actually perfect mystic. That means we work for satisfaction of Krishna. Those who are beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for welfare of all being, who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. So one who is working for welfare, one who engages in satisfaction of Krishna is actually working for well-being of all others. We cook food, we offer to Krishna, and that we distribute. So this is a welfare for all living beings. We construct huge temple for Krishna so that all people in general can visit, have darshan of deities, and take benefit. So this way we engage for welfare of all living beings. Those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, constantly endeavoring for perfection or assured liberation. This means we may have a lot of challenges in making consistent, demonstrating consistently our sadhana. We have to get up early every day. There is no holiday for that. We need to chant 16 rounds. We may have specific service. We need to read Srila Prabhupada's books like regularly. So this is like when we do it out of love, it becomes a focus inwards. But when we are not attached to this work, then it becomes very difficult. If we are not self-realized, if we are not self-disciplined, we will have anger. We will get anger, and we will tend to uh, get, because of anger, we will not be able to stay in association of devotees. And when there is no association of devotees, then we come under the clutches of association of Maya. So material desires come and we fall down. So shutting out all external objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows. So Krishna is here talking about the Dhyana Yoga. Krishna is here talking about the Bhakti Yoga. So we will discuss this first. So we can see that Krishna is giving us the methodology of na priyashat of na prayashat priyam prape, no dvijit prapya cha priyam. How we will get neither rejoice and nor lament. So this is something which we need to understand. This verses 55.20 to 29 describe the characteristics which are naturally possessed by siddhas. Siddhas means devotees who are already in a higher level of devotional service, and those who are consciously cultivating by their sadhana. So they are sadhakas. So now let us understand this little bit further. So naturally possessed by Siddha means um, it is descriptive. So the way they, for example, the way Prabhupada wrote these books, it's a descriptive. We learn from what they have done. The way the entire Srimad Bhagavatam enumerates the different pastimes of devotees, these are learnings for us. So Siddhas are naturally detached from material things. So it is anything that we talk about them like Prahlad Maharaj or Dhruva Maharaj or Narada or Arjuna or Bhishma Dev, these are all descriptive of their characteristics. Whereas those who are sadhakas, it is a prescriptive. We read Srimad Bhagavatam to understand how we can cultivate devotional service. So, in the shloka number 5.20 to 29, if you see in one perspective, it is talking about highly elevated souls, Mahabhagavatas, of Mahajanas. And another perspective is that these are the activities, these are all the prescriptions for a sadhaka to follow so that he can gradually progress towards the Siddha stage. So, the sadhaka will get excited about a new service or a new environment, but Siddha will never get excited. He will remain steady in his sadhana with a clear understanding that this is a new situation for him to serve Krishna. This is a new service for him to serve Krishna. But sadhakas may have apprehensions whether he will be able to do it, whether his body will accept or not. So that is what is a difference between a sadhaka and siddha. Let us go to the next shloka. बाह्यस्पर्शे सतक्तात्मा विन्दति आत्मनि यत् सुखं स ब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा सुखम अक्षयम ashnute. Akshaya means unlimited. Ashnute means enjoy. Sukham akshayam ashnute. So one such a liberated person is not attracted by material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness for he concentrates on the supreme. So these verses describe the way Siddha and Sadhaka remain equipoised. For a Siddha, these characteristics are something which, as we discussed, is so Bahya Sparshas in external sense pressure, Asaktatma, one is not affected. Vindati enjoys in itself. So for sadhaka, he has to practice this. Siddha knows that he is already in this state, so he is always focusing on inwards. In this verse, there are two words which Krishna uses um, for enjoyment. One is asnute, and other one is vindati. Vindati atmani yetsuka. So akshaya means unlimited, which is unending. So in this verse, there is a interesting progression. There is an interesting progression, and it will be very nice to understand it. Let us go here. Bahyasparshat asaktatma vindati atmani yetsukam sa brahma yoga yuktatma sukam akshayam ashnute. So Bahyasparshat asaktatma, one who is detached from external stimuli. Then Bindati Atmani Yetsukam. He seeks happiness inside. So Brahma Yoga Yuktatma means concentrate on Brahma. Try to connect with the Supreme. So it will concentrate on Supreme. Shukam Akshayam Ashnute, which will result in imperishable happiness. So we begin by detaching ourselves from external stimuli. Instead of running after sensual pressure, we learn to remain steady and unaffected. Once we stop looking outward for external happiness, we naturally start looking inward. This turning inward helps us to seek true happiness within, and in doing so, our focus shifts from external sense objects to supreme. That is, external man. Man may have attraction for women. Man may have attraction for possession of land. Man may have desire to possess gold. He may want to enjoy drugs. He may want to meat eating, different types of food, illicit sex, contact with opposite sex. Then, as he said, gambling. Like to try his luck. Then intoxication, gambling, and meat eating, illicit sex, gambling, and intoxication. Like to take different drugs. So these are all the things which we give up. So these are detaching us from external stimuli. When we do a no meat eating, no illicit sex, no gambling, no intoxication, that means detachment from external stimuli. And why we do this? We want to engage in devotional service of the Supreme. With this focus, we move to the next, which is concentrating on Supreme. So at this point, we are no longer attached to the external enjoyment. Our mind becomes centered on inner joy of connecting with Krishna. This concentration inspires us to take shelter of Supreme and engage in his service. Principally, a person is following the Krishna conscious method of sadhana. When he starts chanting 16 rounds, when he follows the co-regulative, when he practices getting up early in the morning, attending Mangalarti, memorize shlokas, memorize Mangalarti, the songs, Darshanarti songs, Gaurarti songs, and then Nashamarti songs, Tulsi Arti songs. When he does all those, that means he has already started seeking happiness inwards. Now, at this point of time, he requires a huge boost. That is why he gets initiated and gets connected to Parampara. By that, the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is available by his representatives, through Srila Prabhupada, through our immediate spiritual master. So that is how we get initiated. When we do that, we can focus on concentrating on Krishna's devotional service in a much deeper way, much better way. So as we engage in this service, something higher begins to awaken. We start relishing imperishable happiness. This imperishable happiness is also there before initiation, but once we start when we start following our regulative principles and start 16 rounds chanting, that time also we will get happiness. But when we start engaging in direct service of Krishna by cooking for him, by engaging in deity service and so on, we get imperishable happiness. This joy is not temporary like sense pressure, it is eternal. Krishna, who resides in our hearts, gives us this infinite happiness when we sincerely connect with Him. Because our mind is no longer restless or anchoring for material pleasure, it becomes possible to perform our sadhana with steadiness and consistency. So, gradually, this consistent practice matures into proper devotional service. This stage is this stage is known as Brahma Yoga Yuktatma, where one is firmly situated in spiritual consciousness. This results in what is called as Akshaya Shukam, unlimited, imperishable happiness. In this way, step by step, we progress from basic level of detachment to the advanced level stage of experiencing eternal joy through devotional service. So, if you see the purport of Srila Prabhupada, it is very nice. There is an interesting shloka which Srila Prabhupada quotes from Sri Ramanacharya. Ya avadi mama chet Krishna padara vinde nava nava rasadami vidyutam brantum asit tad avadi pata nari sankame smaranyam smaran ya mane bhavati mukha vikar sustu nistivanam cha. Since I have been engaged in chastising the loving service of Krishna, realizing ever new pleasure in him, whenever I think of sex pleasure, I spit at the thought and my lips curl with distaste. So, this sex pleasure Prabhupada is mentioning here. Uh, the highest pleasure in terms of matter is sex pleasure. The whole world is moving towards its spell, and materialists cannot work at all without this motivation. But a person engaged in Krishna consciousness can work with greater vigor without sex pleasure, which he avoids. That is the test in spiritual realization. Spiritual realization and sex pleasure go ill together. A Krishna conscious person is not attracted to any kind of sense pleasure due to his being a liberated soul. So the sexual pressure is actually physical. Spiritual pressure is transcendental. Sexual pressure indicates our identification with body in contrast to spiritual pressure, which is at the level of soul. So when we are acting at the level of soul, we will not be attracted to bodily pressure. Thus, spiritual realization and sex pleasure, Prabhupada says, goes in together, goes in together. So they are like antipodes. Antipodes. At the level of karma kanda, which consists of karma, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. If one gets, so that what does it mean? If one gets a happy family life, that is fulfillment of karma, it is considered blessing of Krishna. This is true at one level. This does not mean that we should get stuck at the level of gratifying our senses. Karma does not only refer to sense gratification, it also refers to overall material well being. The same way, Artha does not refer only to bank balance, but it also refers to overall material prosperity and material satisfaction. All these are considered religious or dharmic. When a person, however, when a person becomes serious, spiritual seeker, he does not get caught up in these things. He understands that artha and kama are important, but more important than that is moksha. So there is an interesting shloka in Srimad Bhagavatam. Nirodha asya anu shayanam atmana sah shaktibihi mukti itva anyata rupam sparupena vyavastitihi. The merging of a living entity along with its conditional living tendency with a mystic line down of the Mahavishnu is called as binding up of the cosmic manifestation. Liberation is a permanent situation of the form of the living entity after he gives up the changeable, gross, and material bodies. So, when a devotee becomes strongly associated with Krishna, he does not become caught up. This is a permanent situation. Liberation is a permanent situation. So, he does not get caught up by pleasures of this world. This will happen gradually to us as we keep ourselves steadying in our relationship with Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport that this is the test for spiritual realization, which is a test one who he has to avoid sex. That is the test for spiritual realization. What is the connotation? So how should we understand here? We may sometimes feel very good that, oh, I am making such a nice spiritual progress. I feel great pleasure, great satisfaction when I take darshan of Krishna, when I chant his holy name, when I come in association of devotees. So this is in one state of mind. But sometimes we don't feel like this. This feeling of good and not good is very natural. So when we follow the regulative principles and sadhana regularly without failing, then we are staying at the detached level. So this detachment is the inspiration of inner happiness. So we may sometimes not like, but our duty is to stick to the schedule and do our activities as prescribed by following rules and regulations. So this helps in detachment, and this detachment is the inspiration of inner happiness, which results in giving up outer happiness, which starts from detachment from outer happiness. And okay, so it starts from where? Now, just to give a brief about this, sometimes we will feel that why we should go for Mangalarti at 4:30. We will continue chanting. We may get up early in the morning and then get ready for Mangalarti, but then we see that we have a lot of service. So instead of attending Mangalarti, we will keep chanting. So this is not good. When Lord Krishna is there giving his darshan, then we should prioritize seeing him. So, according to our schedule, the activity at 4:30 is to attend Mangalarti. This we should do whether we like or we do not like. So, when we do this, then gradually attachment for Krishna grows. And this attachment for Krishna results in detachment from outer happiness. Now, there is a question we can ask. Uh, Detachment is the inspiration of inner happiness, which is coming up after we give outer happiness. So, one side we have inner happiness, one side we have outer happiness. This one should go down, and this one should come up. So, which one should we focus? Either detachment for from outer happiness or attachment to inner happiness? Which one should we focus? Krishna answers this in 7.1 BG. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Maya Asakta Mana Partha Yogam Yunjam Madashraya Asayam Asamshayam Samagrama Yata Nyasasi Tatchunu Tatchunu means what? Try to hear. The Supreme Personality of God. Now here, O son of Brahma, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can be full, free from doubt. So where does it start? Detachment of external and attachment to Krishna. Where does it start? We should start from hearing. We need to hear and understand how outer happiness is temporary and results in misery, and inner happiness is permanent and results in happiness. Krishna clarifies this in the next shloka. So he says in let's go to the shloka number 22. An intelligent person does not take part in sources of misery, which are due to contact with material senses. O Punna, son of Kunti, such pleasures are beginning and an end, so wise man does not delight in him. So in this verse, he is contrasting spiritual happiness and the external happiness. Okay, so this spiritual happiness grows unlimitedly when we try to connect with Krishna. So this spiritual knowledge, spiritual happiness begins with hearing. This moves us from temporary outer material happiness to eternal inner spiritual happiness. This movement is progressive. This movement clarifies that material happiness, though appearing happiness, gives lot of agitation and irritation. This pleasure is very tiny and it is not worth effort. Thus, the sadhaka becomes judicious, becomes smart. This results in him shedding the attachment for material happiness and focus on spiritual well-being. Thus, hearing uh, results in detachment from material things. The most important point is that we should focus on hearing. So we should not be worried about attachment, detachment right now. We should be focused on hearing. When we do that, then automatically we understand what we need to get attached to, what we need to get detached to. So hearing comes in two ways. Hearing comes by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When we hear it, it cleanses our heart. Then we need to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita regularly. When we do this, then we become strong in our sadhana. If we are not hearing regularly, our sadhana becomes weak. Our chanting is not attentive. We will not be serious in our cultivation of bhakti. Thus, there will be scarcity of inner happiness. And this drags us to sensual material happiness. And this results in sex because we want to have the highest of the material happiness. This results in continuous dragging for material happiness. Once we start having the illicit sex, then we tend to have it again and again because we are unable to come out of that happiness. We fall down. Thus, we should not run the risk of fall down. Hence, we should hear attentively and regularly. So, this Bahya Sparshe Sahakarma, Krishna will elaborate in all the verses to come now. The core is Bahya Sparshas. This will, any contact with external pleasure results in miseries. That is the most important thing that we take away from this chapter. This part of Bhagavad Gita. ये हि संस्पर्श चाभोग दुःख योनय एवते आदि अंतवंत कौंतेय न तेषु रमते बुधः. Okay. Um, okay. And an intelligent person does not take part in sources of misery which are due to contact with material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, so the wise man does not delight in him. Prabhupada has quoted this verse very frequently. So this is a very important verse. The senses are generally attached to sense object. How is that? So we see that the hair is attached to beautiful music. beautiful music and then makes a lot of noise and so on. It's attracted to noise or pleasing sound. Then tongue is attached to different types of eatables. Then nose is attached to different types of smell, aromas. Okay, and then eyes are attached to seeing different things, and hand is attached. The sense of touch is attached, which is the skin is attached to different types of touch. So senses seek pleasure by contacting sense object. So how is that? Dukkha yonaya evite. They are just sense objects, and these sense objects are sources of misery. We want to hear the singing of opposite sex. We want to give our tongue the best of the food, so we eat dead bodies like meat, chicken, mutton, chicken, and so on. We want to smell the body of the opposite sex, and eyes want to see beautiful forms. The skin wants to touch soft parts. So these are all sources of miseries, just sources of misery. Krishna explains that they are Adivanta. So if you go to the shloka, Adi Antavanta, it means it has a beginning and it has an end. When we seek pleasure, there are three possibilities. So first of all, Adi Antavanta means it has a beginning and it has an end. Now, if you see here, why is it source of misery? If you take here, I have listed down some different type of that a ear can be affected with, and it can give us severe pain. Tongue can have different types of disease, or different types of one type of disease. Or yeah, there are different varieties in which tongue can get affected. So I have put here one set. And nose, it's not just nose, the entire area around the nose is can give us lot of problems. Eyes, on the other hand, can also give us lot of problems. Cataract, UATs, glaucoma, dry eye, we are not able to see things. Then germ action, which is infections. And then the skin. The skin is available all over the body. So it can affect every part individually. It can also affect the overall skin. So everywhere sense objects, though they give us little bit pleasure, they can give us a lot of pain. So when we seek pleasure, there are three interesting things that it three interesting things that it generally has. One is it is unattainable. Our eyes can see different sense objects, predominantly the opposite sex, and there are infinite forms of opposite sex. It is not possible for a human being to satisfy his sense by contacting all these forms. Thus, the beautiful forms the eye sees are unattainable. So, what does it lead to? It leads to craving. Second, it is if something is attainable, they are unpalatable. We get a very beautiful form for us to see, but the behavior of the form is so sick. that we get disgusted about our attraction for that particular form. We hear about a new restaurant where they serve delicious food. The food is, however, very expensive. So we dream of having sumptuous lunch or dinner in the restaurant, and we will be looking for a festival offer in that restaurant. And whenever there is a festival offer, we go take that as an opportunity to dine in. But after dining, we get disgusted about the food because the sense object do not meet our expectation. So it may be attainable, but sometimes it becomes unpalatable. Even if they meet our expectation, that is palatable. And the third thing is, even if they are attainable and palatable, the third important thing is they are not retainable. Our body has limited capacity. At a time, the pleasure derived from a specific object will last or can last only for few minutes or few hours. Mostly it is few minutes. If it lasts for hours, then in most of the cases it is very artificial or induced artificially, and this results in deterioration of the overall health, deterioration of the overall health because for example, the pressure derived from drugs or pressure derived by artificial enhancement of genitals. So our body is time bound, which means the sense organs are also time bound. They deteriorate over a period of time. This is very natural. This artificial inducement or enhancement only results in faster deterioration. Thus, nothing in this world can be retained perpetually. Thus, the three things, unattainable, unpalatable, and unretainable, obstruct our desire to enjoy any sense object. So, this leads only in misery. There will be a pleasure for a very specific duration of time, which is momentary pleasure. But once the pleasure subsides, it is just misery. So, to explain it, we can take the example of a sandwich. So, the sandwich has outer loaves, and these loaves principally do not have any taste. They are unpalatable. And what is very nice to eat is this crust. For us to reach there, we have to take a deep bite. So we can consider the crust to be unattainable. And inner crust, you can see the content of the outer lobes and the content of the inner crust. So inner crust is unretainable. The pleasure derived is very, very short. So material life can be easily visualized using sandwich. So in the center is the thin crust, which is symbolizing the fleeting pleasure that people run after great effort. These pleasures appear attractive, but they are very, very limited, extremely limited, offering only brief sense of satisfaction. On the other side of the crust are the thick lobes, which are on the other side. What are that? They are representing anchoring and lamentation. We anchor because the thin crust is often beyond our reach, and we lament when we are forced to deal with the outer layers, which are unpalatable and are full of burden, unattainable. This constant cycle of desire and disappointment predominates the material existence. So, even if one succeeds in reaching the crust of this sandwich, the pleasure obtained is very, very short, unretainable. It cannot be retained or held permanently, and soon it slips away, leaving behind emptiness. The thick loaves of anchoring and lamentation once again overpowers us, and we start chasing after the temporary joy again. So there is a compelling force which makes us to chase the inner crust again and again. In this way, the material life becomes a restless pursuit where real fulfillment is never achieved. The sandwich analogy reminds us this worldly happiness is neither deep nor lasting. It is momentary and it is deceptive. True joy lies beyond the sandwich of material entanglement. It lies in spiritual realization. It lies in connection with Krishna. And this alone can bring enduring satisfaction. So we need to understand this and become very serious in our sadhana. Thank you very much. We'll stop here. वाचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभैर्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो अनंत ग्रंथराज भगवद गीता की जय जगत गुरु शिला प्रभुपाद की जय गौर प्रेमानंद हरे कृष्णा